Welcome again to the S.E.M podcast. It's been a minute since we recorded one of these. It's my fault. I've been on vacation, but we're so excited to be back. Just a quick shout out to everyone listening. So we have over 2,500 views on YouTube on our videos, and we have about 1,300, almost 1,400 listens on our podcast. So thank you to everyone who's listening and sharing. We hope that continues as this continues to grow. But just wanted to point that out and say thank you to everyone. We have a really special episode today where we have a guest with us, a guest host, I guess we'll call it, right? A guest host. So Jack is here. Jack, say hi.
Hey, everybody. I'll just be listening in today pretty much.
No, I doubt that very much. And our guest host today is Christian Lucas, as we are joined today by the fabulous Zack Clark. Zack,
hey.
How are you?
I'm doing so good.
Good.
So excited to be here. This is
where are you joining us? Where are you joining us from today?
I am in my son's room. I'm going to get super specific. From Chandler, Arizona.
Chandler. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I know that you've been listening, and we'll just recap real quick the format.
Sure.
We'll talk pre-mission and anticipating getting called to Scotland, then skip over and go through life since Scotland, and then we'll go back through the mission. So the floor is yours. We're excited to listen.
Awesome. Thank you. What's up, Christian? What's up, Jack? Hey. Hello, everybody. This is super fun. So yeah, just to start right where you said, I was in Cleveland when I got my call. I was actually, I did a year of a cello performance degree before I went out. I was at the Cleveland Institute of Music, and I got my call, and it was like mid-semester, so I just like got on the phone with my parents. It wasn't like a big party or anything that some of us got to do, you know. But I remember I was in my dorm room, just nothing special. But I remember opening it up, and of course, like every other American, I said, Edinburgh, Scotland, you know, tried to put an accent on it like I knew anything.
Yeah.
So stupid. But I was on the phone with my parents, and maybe my sister was on there too. And I was just so stoked. Totally the opposite of your experience, Christian. I watched your story. It seems like everyone from England just dreads going to Scotland. I can understand it. It's like me getting a call to Utah or something. Like, oh, come on, you know, let's get someplace cool, you know. But man, I grew up in the church, and I looked at return missionaries like a sacrament meeting, giving talks, bearing their testimonies, and I was just like, dude, like they know something. Like I want to be like that. And I feel like I always wanted to go on a mission. Of course, my parents encouraged me to, you know, and everybody, I want to get into this a little bit. Of course, we got the mission music group to talk about a little more. Christian, I wanted to bring that up a little more today. But, you know, being a professional cellist, and of course, at that time in our lives, like when you're taking your instrument seriously and you're at a conservatory, like that's got to be your whole life, you know? And of course it was for me, you know, at the time. I mean, it still is, but like at that time, like, yeah, I was like super into it. Did my freshman year. And when I told all of my like classmates that I was going to take 2 years off, I remember people looked at me like, you're an idiot. Like wow. they said that. I was like, gee, thanks, friends. You know? But they were like, dude, are you sure? Like a lot of people questioning me, like unsure about it. Christian, I'll bet you had the same experience with trumpet. You know, I know you were grade 5 and you know, of course you think like, wow, you know, I wonder what's going to happen after 2 years. But like, it's never a question. Like I'm going to serve a mission. I've been wanting this my whole life, and I'm doing it. So like whatever happens, like big deal. But like a lot of people were like, you're crazy. You're putting, like they were shocked. And I'd get to this later more, but like after I got home from my mission, it took me, I think, an hour, and I felt like I was back to 100%.
Wow.
So obviously we got to play a little bit on the mission, Christian, every December. But I was never practicing or anything. And just like riding a bike, I mean, maybe it took me a day, maybe it wasn't an hour, but I remember sitting down trying to play Schumann cello concerto in my room. And when I first picked it up, I was like, oh, I was like weird. Like I like forgot how to like exist for a second. And then after like an hour, I was like, you know what? I got this. And the next day I was like, yeah, this is good. I'll be fine. So that was me getting my call there at the conservatory. And actually the Cleveland Institute of Music did hold my spot for 2 years as well. So I could have come back. My teacher actually left, though. When I left to Scotland, he actually left to teach at University of Michigan and Juilliard. And anyway, I didn't know the teacher when I came back from my mission, so I ended up just transferring back to Arizona State and just finishing my degree there. And I guess that kind of takes us into like what I'm doing now. Is that the next part? Is that right?
Yeah. What's
All
life
right.
been since you got home from your mission?
Life's been great. So like I said, I transferred to Arizona State and I finished the cello performance degree. Took me a while to finish. I ended up working at Bank of America for a year because I panicked when I met this girl. I wanted to propose. I got nervous. I was like, starving musician, I was like, I don't want that to be the case for me, but what if it is the case? And oh my gosh, what do I do? So I did actually change my major to math for a semester. I do love math. So I was like, maybe this is who I am. And there was me for a year at Bank of America as a teller. And I gave it my best shot. I went down that path though, and I explored it. And after 10 months, I said, what am I doing? I've made a gigantic mistake. This is not who I am. I miss the cello. I miss music. So I went back, finished my degree. I walked out of Bank of America. I put in my 2 weeks, and then I just stopped going. So then they fired me. I wanted out of there so fast. And he's like, today's your last day. No problem. I was like, I need someone I can count on. And I was like, yeah, you do. And I need out of here. So see you later, And I walked out of Bank of America and I walked into Nick's house. So Nick Villalobos is a bass player and I've been friends with him since 9th grade. And I walked into his house and we started a band that day called Simply Three, and I've never looked back. And that's kind of my story post-mission. I did propose to that girl. So that's Michelle. That's my wife. We've been married for coming on 13 years. So it was a couple of years after the mission. We got married, and she was there for when Nick and I, started the band. And I play music, man. I'm living the dream. I mean, everyone kind of says that sometimes sarcastically, but I'm literally living the dream. We had 2 beautiful kids, Kate and Zane, who are, Kate's almost 8 and Zane just turned 6, and they're just awesome. Of course, everyone thinks their kids are awesome. But it's just awesome. It is. It's great. And, party foul.
I can't let you just glaze over we started a band, but you got to talk about Simply Three a little bit because,
Yeah.
I've followed it, let's say lightly. I'm not going to say that it's been too intense, but
Sure.
Every time you release a song and do that stuff, you got to talk about that.
Also, this is a perfect plug for you. They've got 2,500 followers on the thing. You've just released an album. You got to get that out there.
Yes.
Give it a plug.
Okay. All right. Thanks. So Simply Three, we started making music videos like in 2013, really when YouTube was kind of really starting to take off, especially with the like string covers and stuff. And we got in there kind of early and like on Pandora and everything. And we recorded albums and we do it full time, and it's been awesome. We got a lot of music videos. I think we have over 50 music videos now, which is crazy. And we have, I think it was 10 albums. I counted the other day. And our most recent album we're very excited for. It's actually a hymns album. It's called All Amazed, and we did it with Deseret Book, and it's coming out at the end of September 30th. So maybe by the time this comes out, it might already be out.
Nice.
And we're just really excited for that album. It was we did some different. We did things different. Some of the hymns are just really beautiful, but some of them, like, we have like full rock drums on. Like, some people might be like, but like, it's different. It's fresh. It's for today. It's like, it's from our hearts and our passion. And man, it just came together so fantastically, and we're just so stoked about that. So thanks for the plug.
That's amazing. No, I'll keep my eyes out for it. I'm excited to hear and
the most
see
important
it.
The most important thing is, right, so they got 2,500 views or whatever. How many followers, how many likes and subscribes are Simply 3 getting?
We're getting a little more. Right now we've got like almost 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. And we get some good streams, like millions of streams every week, like on Spotify and Pandora and stuff. So we're real blessed, man. Real lucky to have gotten in there, kind of the algorithms on some of those early on, and we'd love releasing stuff, and we're happy to see, obviously, numbers. It's funny talking about numbers in this context.
Jack and Zach, they'll be there 12 months time.
I shouted out all my views and our 40 followers. I'm looking at it. 1.45 million subscribers. That's
incredible.
Amazing.
What an incredible achievement. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Unbelievable.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I think if you just
actually, like, just I remember I was doing some work for quite a famous dentist in London, and she's one of the celebrity dentists, and she's like, this guy? You need to book him for me. So I think I messaged you, if you want to gig in London, and you were, no, we can't do that. But I tried to give her somebody else that I knew, not interested. She only wanted Simply 3. And that was, she knew the talent. She saw what it was. And there you go, 1.5 million later. And she was right. And you've done incredibly well. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I don't remember saying no to the gig. I'd love to do the gig, but the thing is like, you got to pay for all of our airfare, and it's just like already probably out of budget, but
yeah.
For dentists, no, absolutely not. They'll pay for everything, right?
Yeah, that's true. What are we talking about, Christian? Come on, let's make it happen.
I'm not yet one of those celebrity dentists. I'm working on it.
That's right. He's on his up and up too. All right, Zach,
Awesome.
Let's go back to the mission. Talk about MTC companions, and we can go from there.
Yeah. So Preston MTC, and who was it that said there was a couple random Germans in there? Was that Martins? That was so funny. Whoever mentioned that, I was like, that's so true. There was a couple that were not going to Scotland, like a few missionaries in MTC, and they just kind of had their own little clique, and it's I'm sure they're great, but that was just funny. And,
we had that. We had that too. We had a couple of missionaries that they came. They didn't speak English. They spent 3 weeks with us, and then went back to their native German-speaking country or whatever. And I was like, "Why? I understand you need to have a training, but for someone who doesn't speak English, I'm sure they just had out-of-body experiences while they're just like, why am I here?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, it was really exciting. July 2006 came out with Christian. We're in the same group. I was going to say class. MTC was great. So exciting. Just meeting everybody. And like I said, I had wanted to be a missionary for a very long time. And so I couldn't believe that I was a missionary for probably a year. For the first year of my mission, every day I would wake up, I'd put on my tag and look in the mirror and just say, I can't believe I'm a missionary. Every day. I was so happy. I was so excited. I was so grateful to be there. And I was just kind of, it took forever. It took I feel like a year for it to be like, yeah, all right, I'm a missionary. It took a while. I was just so excited though in the MTC. My MTC companion was Elder Stoughton, James Stoughton. I've seen him and his wife and kids since. They were in Arizona for a while and back in California. Now they just moved over to Knoxville, actually, just like last month. Great guy. Loved the MTC, and Christian and I hit it off. At least I think I hit it off. Like, I was friends with you. I'm not sure if you were friends with me, but I was friends with you in the MTC. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. This is like one of those really random specific memories I have. We were like studying one day, and I feel like we were supposed to study a certain topic in Preach My Gospel. Probably had some related scriptures. I don't remember the exact topic, but there was a scripture that was like, what does that mean? And you and I were both like, let's go ask the president. And you and I just walked out of class and went down the hall and found I don't know, the MTC president or something. And we both had the same question, and we asked him together. And I felt so heard and so seen and understood that you had the same question that I did, Yeah, it was just awesome. I don't know if you remember that, but you and I feel like you and I were in it together, diving in, and it was awesome.
I actually think we were probably really irritating for everybody else. I'm certain of it. So it was President Winwood, wasn't it? Quite a fantastic guy. But I just remember anybody that knows Zach knows that his brain just works weird in the nicest, kindest possible way. And you just wanted to know everything. You had a question. I need to know this. I need to know that. And just everything that was being taught, there was always question. And I think sometimes in church, people aren't used to that. They're used to, right, this is what's taught. I believe that. I'll take that on board. But you just think completely different. I loved that instantly about you, and you've never changed. And that's we text. I'm actually only on here to get to chat to you because we text all the time, but keep missing each other for a chat. Yeah. But yeah, I remember those things, and just so many questions. But we would learn so much because of that, and just share those revelatory experiences together. It bonds people.
Yes, dude, that's awesome. Thanks for that insight, man. Yeah. What's funny is my son is the exact same way. And so now I'm getting obviously what my parents got. And it's it gets to a point, it's you know what? I don't know right now. Can we just put a pin in that for a second? It's crazy. He's a spitting image in a lot of ways. But yeah, man, ask questions. Yeah, I don't know any other way to think, but it does allow me to, I learned how to edit simply through his music videos, and I learned how to edit our songs and produce them, and I've mixed a lot of them too. And when I'm okay, I need to learn something, I dive so deep, and I can't help it. So yeah, that was the MTC. A lot of diving deep. I had never actually read the Book of Mormon cover to cover until my mission, and it took me a year to read it. I would start you'd wake up and do your study, and I was like, all right, today's chapter 1 or whatever it was, however much time I had. And I've always been a slow reader because of this thing in my brain that has to stop and wait a second, what does that actually mean? What is this? Hold on, let me I can't just read one day Sally went to the store. It's I don't know how people just read and just keep reading. I don't get it. I have to understand it. Why am I reading it? Why would I just keep going if I don't know what I just read? Anyway, enough about my brain. So
do you do that with normal books too?
Yes.
I bet you do with everything.
Everything. I'm telling you, I can't, I'm not a reader. I've read probably 5 books my entire life. Because I have to it's not reading for me unless you know it. So basically it's studying. And then as a result, dude, I feel I know, I could recite all these things, and it's page this, and hey, it's all or nothing with me. Either I get it or I don't. So then, yeah, going to the mission. And by the way, I remember going to the MTC. It was July 2006, and everyone's like, "This is not the weather of the UK. Do not get used to this," because it was just sunny and beautiful for 2 weeks. So they were like, "You've been warned." So it's okay, sweet. I'll appreciate the sunlight while we have it here.
Yep.
And then first area. So just a recap before I start diving in here. I made a couple notes. So I had 11 companions. and every one of them I just loved. And I also just want to, there was so much to talk about. There's so much that like I've been thinking about for these past couple weeks, getting ready for this. And I mean, the things that keep coming back to me, obviously there's a lot of experiences, but like the things that come back to me are the people, both my companions and people I served around and the people of Scotland. There's so many families and so many people that I just fell in love with. And a lot of them, I was actually able to go back to Scotland a few years back with my wife. And we went around and I tried to visit as many people as I could. It was not enough time though. I have so many good friends in Scotland and England too. You know, people that have served, you know, around me. You know, Christian, you're one of them over there in England. You know, and I honestly, like, my wife fell in love with it as well, with the country and the people. And like, I'm not really joking when I say that one day we like might end up living there. I have such an attachment, and there's so many wonderful memories and experiences and people. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today I have some really funny stories. Like, I can't wait. It's going to be so funny. And a lot of just great people. And there's just going to be an outpouring of love for me. That's kind of an overview of how it's going to go. And I am going to obviously forget a lot of names and I might say that someone was in a city, but it was in a different city, so forgive me for all that. Okay.
You're not alone, I can assure you.
Yeah. It's been, it's been since I started. It's been 16 years since I started. Is that right, Christian? Dang.
It's getting that way, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. A few months for me, it'll be 18 years since I started. It's crazy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, and I was going to say, Elder Hewlett, you were there. Like, we overlapped a bit. You know, we came. Yep. Like, I came out with President Frederick, and you were there. I think you said it was like 6 months with President Frederick, and I don't think I ever saw you or like talked to you. Maybe we did, but I always heard about you, man. You made a lasting impression over there. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. That makes me feel good.
And you also made a lasting impression on me because Zach, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, sure. Another Zach. Okay.
That's right.
Got to get to know him.
Brothers from another mother.
That's it. All right. So let's just dive in. So my first area was Motherwell, just outside of Glasgow. And I have a picture of me. Man, I didn't know anything. Just the greenest picture you can see, you'll ever see. I was pointing at a sign that's at some graffiti that said Murderwell. And I was just like, look at this, Murderwell. I'm in a bad area. This is going to be great. Oh my gosh. And then the stories we would hear about things that happened in that area. I mean, dude, by the way, Christian, I think your story of the Ned mob chasing you with knives and bats takes the cake. I don't know, like, if anyone can top that story, I cannot, but like, that is insane. Dude, I want to ask you said you had lasting damage to your hip and your foot or something?
Yeah, I had an MRI scan last week just to check out what's going on with it.
No way.
There are definitely Elder Black and Elder Harrison, I think, spent 3 nights in hospital after a Ned attack. So yeah, you want stories like that, they'll be on. I'm looking forward to hearing Bistler's version of that same story, though.
Oh my gosh. Seriously. Dang. Dude, that's insane. But I had an incredible time. So Elder Hardy, Ren Hardy, I think it's actually Kenneth Ren Hardy, but he likes Ren. If I'm being exact, because he actually wrote it down in my little thing that I have. So he was my trainer. And you guys know Elder Hardy.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing because Elder Hardy served with Elder Aurelio before he went home in Motherwell, and I was the district leader in Hamilton. And so when you came in, I moved. I went to Aberdeen.
Oh, okay.
And so, but I had 2 weeks where I was in like a tripanionship with Elder Hardy and Elder Powell. And man, that guy just makes me laugh every time I see his smiling face. I just go back to that 2 weeks. It's a lot of fun. So you had a great one as a trainer.
Yeah, it was awesome. served me the green omelet, like literal green food coloring in it. Just his intensity and his energy was awesome. And, I wanted to talk about Elder Loganberg and Elder Maddock. They were serving I forget which area. It was right next to us. You'll probably remember, Zach, but we that's like right when I met them. And Elder Loganberg, I don't know if you've been in touch. You got to get him on here. Elder Maddock, you got to get him on here. I want to hear those guys' stories for sure, man. And Elder Loganberg, man, right away I connected with him. Just so genuine when he needed to be, and then so fun all the other times. And I really looked up to him. And I remember picking his brain. And he's a little older too. So I just really looked up to him and his wisdom. And I have a memory from right around this time. Elder Martin did not mention this. I'm curious if he's going to remember this. So one night, it was P-Day, and Elder Hardy and I drove over to hang out with Elder Loganberg and Elder Maddock and Elder Canucci, I think, too. And who was Elder Canucci serving with? Can't remember. I might be mixing this up, but for some reason, Elder Martin, well, maybe it was Elder Martin. I don't know who his companion was, but for some reason, he was there. This sounds like a dream. Like, this doesn't sound real. How can all these people be in the same place? But I swear to you, so I know this for sure. I'm positive Loganberg was there, and I was there, and Martin was there, okay? And we decided, it was like P-Day Eve. We decided to just hang out. We did our numbers, reports, whatever, and it was only a 15-minute drive down the road. And I'm telling you, that's some of the best memories, just like the fellowship, just having fun. There's something about that, dude, like the relationships and the memories there. That is like just as important as chapping doors. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so they wanted to go to probably Asda or something. And by the way, there's like an Aldi now, like in Chandler, Arizona, and that's tripping me out because I feel like that was never in the States till recently.
Yeah, I remember there was an Aldi when I lived in Southern California, and I was like, isn't this? Yeah, it is a different experience. It's true.
There's one, when we were in Florida in May, there was an Aldi there, and I was like, we are not shopping anywhere else. We're going to Aldi.
Yeah.
We're not going into Costco and spending 3 hours trying to find all the stuff that's in that massive shop. We're going to Aldi. I love it.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was Aldi or Tesco or something, and we all wanted to just go there to get some snacks and deodorant or whatever. So Elder Martin's driving, and it's raining. And apparently, I haven't ever asked him this, but apparently he used to drift cars before his mission.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So he's driving fast, and it's raining. I'm in the back seat. My heart is in my throat the whole drive. He was, I don't think he was running lights, but like he was peeling out. He was going so fast, and he was, I'm telling you, we were drifting, guys. We were drifting around corners. And one time, I think he stopped drifting after this. So it came to this. We hydroplaned during a drift.
Oh, no.
I'm telling you, it was like one of the scariest moments while driving that I've ever had. And maybe I was just super green, but like I've never drifted before. I've never been in a car like that. And we were freaking out for about 3 seconds because he lost control of the car, and it was like an L. Okay. And so we were drifting towards parked cars. So he turned the car to go this way, but he turned and it kept going. And I swear we stopped within 1 inch of hitting a car.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
So I want to see if Elder Martin remembers that. I know you already had him on, but man, that was a night to remember. I remember walking in the Aldi or whatever, and my legs were just shaking, and I was like, I don't even know what I need anymore. I almost died.
Oh my gosh. Elder Martin, you have my phone number. and I'm on WhatsApp. Send me a voice message, and we'll share it with Elder Clark.
Or comment below.
Yeah, comment below.
Yeah,
Give us your version.
Yeah, confirm or deny that. But man,
I'm gonna text him right now.
You texting right now? Okay. See if he responds. Dude, that was crazy. But dude, honestly, it's just brotherhood, bonding. Like, it was just so much fun. Obviously, that was probably a little stupid. I would say that was dumb. I did not want him to drift at all the whole time, but can't control people. Anyway. So yeah, and I also had my first, is it called a munchie box?
Yeah.
Dude, mind blown. And to this day, I haven't had another one. I don't know why not. I don't know what. That was like the most delicious meal I've ever had. I don't even know what's in it. Kebabs. What is it, Christian? Bunch of stuff I've never had.
I don't eat that kind of thing.
Oh, how dare you?
My body's a temple.
Oh, come on.
That's how Christian.
I honestly never had a munch. I'd seen what a munchie box was. And I thought that's not for me.
Oh man, I need one. Can you just mail me one? Like somehow freeze it. I don't know how they do it.
Right, you come over visit. We'll go get one. I'll eat it with you.
Yes. All right. Yeah, and so after Elder Hardy was Elder Stuart Pattenden. One of my favorite companions and people on the planet, and still in Motherwell. So I was in Motherwell for, I think, my first 3 months, and immediately fell in love with everyone there. I mean, Bishop Patterson, Bill Patterson, Bill was there, the Moore family, Alan Moore, Aaron Bell, who married Aaron Moore now. I was just talking to Alan a couple days ago. I found some old photos of us, sent them to him, and he's like, "Oh, great, great to hear from you again. And how are the kids? Just so much special time, so many special times, and so much love for the people in Motherwell, and I mean everywhere. Obviously, everywhere you serve, everyone has this experience too, But just so many great people and so many great times there. Just trying to do my best, to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law. Just kidding. Did you have Boy Scout? Are you an Eagle Scout, Christian? What was it like over there in England?
People that went to Scouts got bullied. It's very, very different.
Okay.
I had enough already. I carried this little suitcase to school with the trumpet in. People were thinking, you're moving into school. What a spot. And then I was Mormon as well. And I didn't need to add things.
That's a good point. Yep. I'm sure I would have done the same thing.
No scouting from me.
So anyway, very interesting story about Elder Pattenden. Well, a lot of interesting stories. I mean, there's a million.
Al Martin has said he's calling BS on that story, by the way.
Absolutely not, dude. I'm calling Loganberg right now. He will corroborate in the mouth of two. Okay, come on.
He says he's getting mixed up with somebody else. I literally call BS on that. I did notice with Al's stories though, there was a bit of a sheen over the top that there was nothing. There was no bad stories out of that one. Okay. I know a few, so I'm siding with you there.
I'm telling you, I could have sworn it was him because I never got a chance to talk to him about it, and I was always like, I want to see how much drifting he used to do before the mission. I'll try to. I'm gonna talk to Loganberg. Can you text Loganberg too, Christian? Do you have his number?
Right, I'm on it.
All
okay.
Right. Christian's job today is just to see if I'm lying.
He's in South Africa. Yeah, you should be fine though.
Okay.
Let me get on it. You carry on.
Okay.
I don't think Loganberg's in South Africa anymore. Sorry, carry on.
Is he back again?
Yeah, I think so.
So Elder Pattenden, during our companionship, President Fredricks started the Mission Music Group. He recognized there's a lot of musical talent in the mission. Christian Lucas got his trumpet. President had his trumpet sent over, and then as a surprise, he was talking to my parents, and President Frederick had my cello shipped over from the United States, and it was already here, and it was a surprise. And when Elder Pattenden, I think he told me when Elder Pattenden, when I first got paired up with Elder Pattenden, and that Elder Pattenden was going to be the directing the head of the music group, because he's a great singer, a great musician. And so I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is epic. This doesn't always happen in a mission. And so we began rehearsing a Christmas kind of spiritual program. And Christian was playing his trumpet. I mean, and we made a CD, and I can't find it, but I was texting Christian the other day. You still have it, right? And Sister Holmquist?
I think I've got it somewhere. I've got a little box that says Christian's Special Things, and I think it's in there. I'll find it.
Oh, behind your binky, behind your little blankie.
Yeah, probably behind my umbilical cord or something.
The placenta is still there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Oh, but yeah.
Let me tell you my story, because I was serving with Elder Pattenden when this concept came together, and I remember him talking with President Frederick, and Christian was still in Aberdeen at that point, I think, unless maybe you just moved. But I remember him talking about the music group and the concept of it, and obviously our mission had seen some success from music things with having Elder Osmond in our mission and Donnie Osmond doing a couple of those things early on in my missionary experience. And so I thought it was a great idea. And I can't remember if I was able to, I'm going back through my memory bank, and I remember sitting in on one of the musical performances, and it was amazing. Just, the music, the voice, the talent, everything was there. And it was just such a unique opportunity to get people in front of the church through the joys of music. And so, and I remember when Elder Pattenden got called to Motherwell, he was a little bit worried about that too. So, Stuart, come on the podcast and tell us about that.
Yeah, get on the podcast.
Yeah. So, that's awesome, dude. That's so cool hearing more stories, around the same time and I didn't know about, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I remember at first, Elder Pattenden and I did not hit it off. We kind of butted heads a lot. Maybe a little musical ego going on there, probably with me. A little jealous of him probably being the director, of the music group or whatever. But just kind of personality-wise too, I feel like we kind of didn't get each other at first or something. And I wanted to tell you guys this story because this is one of the biggest, had the biggest impact on me as a person, even to this day, this experience with Elder Pattenden. We all, of course, if you served a mission, you probably know what a companionship inventory is. For those of you that may not know, it's where you basically just do the love sandwich. You tell your companion the things that you're not liking, basically, about them. But you start with good, you end with good, right? It's basically called good communication in a relationship. So, being married for almost 13 years now, those skills are still developing, and I mean, it's still growing. There's a mountain of information and experience and all kinds of things on that topic. But it all started on my mission. I would say for sure. Like, how do you, if you don't get along with someone, or even if you do, like, what's that like? And, why was it good and why was it bad? And how do you work through the bad? So I'll never forget one day we were having our companionship inventory, and we had just been not getting along, man. I mean, you could just feel it all day, thick as a knife. No, I said we're going to go over here. Why are you questioning me? Whatever. I'm not verbatim, but it was just like little things like that all the time. We all have seen people like bickering all the time. And you're like, it's deeper than that. Like there's something going on. So I finally just said, I just came clean. And I was like, Elder Pattenden, I was like, I need to tell you something. I was like, I've been having negative thoughts about you. And I think I said exactly those words, because you never forget these emotional, these powerful experiences. And honestly, I started crying. I broke down, and he broke down, and he was like, I'm really glad you told me. And he was like, I haven't been having fun like this either. and we got it out in the air. We talked about probably some specific things, and we hugged. And I'm telling you, since that moment, we've just been like best friends ever since. We had the best companionship after that. I mean, always having fun. Like it was the complete opposite. And sorry. And I don't think I ever had a companionship inventory after that really did anything like that. You know what I mean? But like, if that companionship inventory was there for anyone, it was there for me and Pattenden. Because after that, it was just like fire, man. It was awesome. We had so much fun. I mean, Stacy Patterson and Aaron Bell at the time would have FHEs. We would go over. We were meeting with the members. We were taking we just did so many things and taught so many lessons, and it was just incredible, man. I was just talking to Stuart, was it yesterday or a couple days ago? And he's in Germany now. He's living the dream. He's happier and healthier than ever. I'm just so proud of him, dude, and I just love him so much. And I told him to do the podcast. Come on, Stu, let's get on here. Yeah, I want to hear. Actually, I haven't asked him yet about that story, about his experience with it. I'm very interested in hearing what he has to say about that, but we're still very close to this day and just love him. My next companion was Elder Stoddard. Love Elder Stoddard, man. Nicest guy. Still keep in touch. And we served in Glen Rothes and Kirkcaldy. And man, pretty much I have like two core memories with him. One was there was this older woman that would have the missionaries over for like lunch, like soup. It was always a soup. Probably out of a can. I don't know. It was like always the same soup. Maybe she made it. I don't know. But the house, it was one of those houses in Scotland. And I don't know if I need to say more.
I've literally been there.
There's three of us that have like memories.
You've been there?
Yeah.
Smells and textures. No, we know the houses. We know what you're talking about.
Spent the last 7 months of my mission in Glen Rothes, so
Yes.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay. So
I knew it. I knew Jack would know. That's too funny. Oh my gosh.
So we went over there for lunch every like Wednesday or so, whatever it was. And one day we go there, it was kind of raining, and it was, she was always clockwork. And we knock on the door and there's no answer. And we kind of look through the windows and we're like, this is weird. Because she was on clockwork, not just with us, but for years, right? I at least what I understand. And we kind of stuck around. We knocked. We looked through the windows. We waited around. We ended up just going back to the flat. And about an hour later, I get a call, and I'm just like, "Hello, it's Elder Clark, whatever." And she's like, "Hey," she was like, "This is so and so's daughter. My mom died this morning."
Oh
and I'm going through her recent calls and just letting people know. And I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." I was like stunned. I like shocked. I like hung up, and Elder Stoddard was like looking at me like, "Who was it? Like what? What happened?" And I was like, I remember just like not being able to talk because we were like right there, like within feet of her body. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of morbid, but like that's what happened. And I was like, dude.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, she died. And he's like, oh my gosh. That was just like, that was it. Like, I remember I couldn't talk and I was like, dude. So that was Elder Stoddard, man. Like, that was Elder Stoddard. So funny, man. Like, just looking back, obviously we felt terrible, I was like, that sucks, but
maybe it was the soup.
What?
Maybe it was the soup.
Maybe it was the soup. Oh, I don't know. Of course, to her family, we're not making fun, but yeah, so Stoddard and I had a great time, man. We walked down the streets. Like, I remember one memory as well. Like, we were walking down the streets, and Elder Stoddard was like, "Be baptized, be baptized. And I'm like, who are you talking to? He's like, everyone that's all the cars driving by. Everybody be baptized. And we were just like, it was so much fun, man. Like, we got to actually find a new flat for that area. And we found this nice little flat. It was like, you walk in and then you go straight up the stairs. It was one of those. The other one's like on the bottom. And it was real nice, obviously like a 1 or 2 bedroom or whatever, and super clean. It was like a new little build. And just remember finding that, and we'd just be walking. We knew the bus routes and stuff, and it was just awesome. There's so many memories to talk about too. Another thing though is High School Musical, I guess, had come out pretty recently around then, and like he knew. It seems like Elder Stoddard knew every word to every song. And so I remember just like, gotta keep, look left, fake right, and no, like whatever, like, and he was good with the basketball too, like on P-Day, we're playing basketball, and he was like doing the dum, 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 and he was like doing it in real life, and I'm like, yo, like that's pretty sick,
Oh, geez. That's too funny.
I just watched a High School Musical again with my kids a couple weeks ago, and I sent a little video to Elder Stoddard, and I was like, yo, remember this? And he's like, oh yeah.
No shame. Zero shame.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh dude, and we would also play cribbage every week. Jack, who's it?
Yeah.
Really old guy. Yes. I have a picture. I just found a picture of us with him. And it was, you always get the McVitties or whatever, the little snacks. And I learned cribbage, dude. And I got pretty good. I've forgotten how to play. That was the only time I've ever played cribbage.
I taught my wife to play, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We actually found out we don't play by the actual cribbage rules, but it's whatever Tom taught me.
Tom trying to get one past us, trying to get one over us. That's awesome.
No, that's not the house rules.
Yeah,
not the house rules.
I'm sure he had it. That's funny.
I mean, he was like 80 or 90. I feel like there's no way. I mean, if he's still alive, he's got to be 197 years old, if my math is right.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was every week too, though, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, kind of looking back, it's like, was that a waste of time? But you don't question the area, okay? When these people have the missionaries over every week, you go, okay? You don't question the system.
Yes.
Okay, and then do you know the resides as well, Jack?
That doesn't ring a bell to me.
I'm not sure if that. Okay. You know what? I think that was back in Motherwell. So I got to tell you about the one time on my mission where we accidentally had 3 dinners in one night.
Oh no.
So the first one was with, I think his name's Alex. Alex Reside, big guy, and I think he might have been like the patriarch. No, maybe the high council. I don't know. Loved him and his wife, had us over for dinner, and it was always like a 3-course meal, okay? We're talking bread, soup, you're full, but that's the first course. Then there's, you know what I'm saying? Then shepherd's pie, and then not to mention the dessert, and you have to have the cream. It's always with the cream, and I never knew about cream until my mission, and I go back to the States, no cream. It's just not the same. It's not good. I need a munchie box, Christian, and I need cream. All right, just a straight shot. You're taking notes? Okay, yeah. Write this down.
You mean the whipped cream from a can, or
no,
like hand whipped cream?
Squirty cream,
straight cream,
squirty cream.
It's just
squirty cream.
And you know who?
Aerosol cream.
No, yeah, exactly. And you know who taught me? Oh, Brother Moncrief, dude, Gordon Moncrief. You guys know Liz and Gordon Moncrief. Of course, Gordon passed.
I remember them.
Yeah, love them. Still keep in touch. Went back and saw them with my wife as well. Just had a really powerful experience with Sister Moncrief, and she just misses Gordon so much, and so do I. I have some amazing pictures of him too, and he was a war mission leader when I was in Motherwell in my first area. Just an amazing guy. So many stories. The biggest laugh. But he taught me, you get the piece of cake, and Elder Hardy as well taught me this. And you just pour the cream all on the cake. What is that? It was incredible. It was a heart attack in a bowl. Is what it was.
But it made
But
your
it's the-
cake so moist and just perfect.
It was the most delicious thing. Okay, so
Maybe that's why I like tres leches. And
yeah,
that's exactly it.
dude, tres leches is the bomb when it's done right. It could be too soggy. Okay, anyway, which podcast? This isn't the Food Network podcast. Okay. So
I guarantee we could have an epic like conversation with a number of people and talk about all of the unique things that we all ate in Scotland.
dude, yes, cow's tongue. I tried it for the first time in Scotland. Not too bad. Kind of tasted like Spam.
Oh boy.
So back to the 3 dinners. So full, dessert, cream, everything. And we're like, this was an amazing DA. And thank you. We go to our next appointment, which we thought was a lesson. And I can't remember the third one. Okay, I remember 2 of the 3. I can't remember the third one. But we went to teach a lesson. Maybe it was to a member, because this is member missionary work, right? President Frederick, boom, we zeroed in. We're teaching the members. We're getting those relationships. And that was brilliant. And I have kind of something to say about that later, too, about that change. But they ended up giving us food at the next appointment. And I'm so grateful for it, of course. But we did not expect dinner, and we were beyond full. But what do you do as a missionary? You eat it. You just got to suck it up, right? So we forced it down, and we're like, okay, I mean, this is the fullest we'll ever be in 2 years, but at least we're good now. And now we can go to a family home evening. And you know what? I know I'm going to send this to Aaron, Moore, and hopefully Stacy sees this too. But Aaron Bell and Stacy Patterson, they would do it FHE like every Monday at their house. And they didn't always have food. Well, guess when they decided to have food? This night. So we go to this FHE, and she's pulling out chips, fries, and like chicken nuggets and stuff from the oven. And we're like, oh no. Like, we just ate it. Like, I have never been fuller in my life than how I was full that night. Of course, we ate. I mean, they may have noticed we barely ate, but that was why. And we never told her. This is me coming out to her. We had 2 dinners before that. Thank you so much for cooking dinner, though.
I'm just thinking, I might be recollecting wrong, and this might not be a story you want to share.
Oh no!
It's related to, but I don't know when it was. But I remember you telling me you'd had an issue one night where you were going to a member's house and you had a little accident before you went in the car. Am I remembering this completely wrong?
Oh no! This was with Stoughton. Yeah.
Well, go on, you share the story. I've said it. You have to share it now.
Okay. Yes, I do. I forgot all about this. I'm pretty sure I was with Elder Stoughton.
I was just thinking about what was happening with all that. Where is it going? That's what.
Exactly. Where's it going? Well, unfortunately, it is coming out. You're right. So, luckily that night, it was all good. Anyway, this actually is perfect segue because my next companion was Elder Stoughton in Kirkcaldy. So I got to serve with my MTC companion, the OG, back together. Elder Stoughton had the best time. So we went to go teach an investigator. Okay. We drive there. Of course, we're always trying to be on time, fulfill our side of the commitment. And we started to park. And I had an accident in the car, like right as we were pulling up, essentially. And I was like, all right. Actually, were we in I can't remember, but somehow maybe we were in I can't remember. We probably just let her know we're running late. I drove all the way back to the flat and changed. And we went back and it was fine and we taught the lesson. That's about all I remember of that. I can't believe I forgot about that though. Yes.
I remember because I think there was some kind of story sharing with Bot Cult. I've sent him a message. Hopefully he's going to get in touch and get on with you. because he had a similar incident where he couldn't make it back to the flat in Springborg and just exploded in a bush like 200 yards from the flat.
Gosh.
And they just wrecked the whole thing. So yeah. So I brought the tone of this podcast down. I'm really sorry.
No, this is perfect, dude.
But how big was Stoughton's feet, by the way?
Oh, you know what? I feel like he always wore shoes that were like bigger than his feet because I feel like the ends of his shoes were like floppy. I don't remember. I feel like maybe we had the same size feet though. I'm a size 13.
Yeah, I've got a picture of me in my full shoes,
maybe
inside his shoes. So they're this big.
That's right. Yeah, maybe he is like a 14 or like a 15 or something. Yeah. Big guy. I feel like he played football and stuff. And then it's on to Elde Hema, Aaron Hemer from Germany, who was like a chef, and I trained him in Kirkcaldy. And the funniest thing, I remember picking him up from the train station. We got on the train and we sat down, and he looked at me and he said, "I hate Preach My Gospel." And then he goes, "I mean, I love Preach My Gospel." He was like still learning like the language. That was like my first impression of him. I was like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? And then he's like, I mean, love. I was like, what is the word in German for love and hate? Or like, are they almost the same? Like, how do you mix that up? Anyway, so funny. Yeah, Elder Hemer and Kirkcaldy. And yeah, I think it was just 6 weeks, training for 6 weeks. Is there ever a training that's more than 6 weeks? Or does it always have to be 6 weeks?
Jack trained me for 3 months, and I trained Elder Marsh for 3 months. So yeah,
we've talked to a few who had 4.5 months together, so it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Elder Marsh. So when I went to Kirkcaldy with Elder Stoughton and then Elder Hemer, there was like a really big house there, and then we had 4 missionaries in the house. There was like tons of rooms. It was like the coolest house. And Elder Marsh was there as well. And dude, he had like a retainer and like the top of his mouth was like missing, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, he did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
He probably still does. I can't say he did. He probably still does.
That's true, yeah.
Now everybody knows.
He surprised me with that. And I think Elder Fish brought it up because he was the zone leader when Marsh was new, and they went on exchanges together, and he took his piece out and showed him, and when he first showed me that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's not like it was a limitation of any sorts. It was just something unique about him.
Yeah. So funny. Just pop that out. It's like, okay. Party trick.
Exactly. He'd take a drink of water and he'd let it fall out of his nose or something.
Yeah, so I think we were like in the same house for like 6 weeks, and then after that, I think they like moved out because I think it was just me and Elder Hemer in that huge house for a while. And I just remember Elder Hemer telling me that the bread sucked. Because I guess in Germany they have like 100 kinds of bread or something like that. Like you go in any store, there's like 50 or something to 100 types of bread. He's like, here there's like 3 kinds of bread. It's not good. And I think he was like a chef, so I just remember him saying the bread sucked.
That's funny.
And I do feel bad, man. I got mad at him one day for wanting to buy like an extra candy bar while we were shopping. So stupid. You just get into believing these certain things are like the law, and you're like, I remember I like yelled at him in the middle of like Asda or something. And I was like, you're not getting another candy bar. I'm pretty sure I said, you're just going to be more fat and miserable. I can't believe I said that to him. I felt so bad. And from that, I've always wanted to apologize to him for that. Because that was so uncalled for. I'm trying to like promote healthiness and, let's walk and instead of drive. I like lost it for a second. That was so dumb, dude. buy 5 candy bars, dude. I don't freaking care. It's just like I was a different person back then, man. Trying to figure it.
You're asking me for munchy boxes after you told him he got the candy bar.
Exactly, dude. That's the old Zach.
Oh my word!
But then just so many incredible people. Georgine, Maitland. Did you know Georgine and Jim, Jack?
Yeah, definitely.
The most tender and sweet soul ever, man. In fact, she was passing through Arizona several years ago, and my wife and I went and met her for like dinner or breakfast or something. And it was so funny because my wife and I walked away, and she was like, "I think I understood maybe like 20% of the words that came out of that woman's mouth."
Yeah, they're pure Scotland there.
Yeah, dude. It was fast and quiet and all sounded different. So you're getting like almost nothing, right? And that was so funny. But Sister Maitland and Jim, you know, he passed as well. So sad, but just love Georgine. And there's just so many people. I mean, Alan Black, became really good friends with him. Oh man, I'm forgetting some of the people's names. I can see them in my head. So many great families in Kirkcaldy and Glenrothes. Oh my gosh, Dennis and Maggie Jack. Dennis Jack was the bishop. I'm pretty sure this is Kirkcaldy.
Yeah, he was the bishop when I was there as well.
Yeah,
it was his 5th time being bishop. So
yeah. So I remember things with him too when I first moved into the area. He was like intimidating, and he seemed to be really cold and not wanting to like help or something. Like I got that impression or whatever. And I can't remember what it was, but like I'm telling you, missionary work was just the way to go, at least there, you know, and at that time, because we were making a concerted effort, you know, on the members and just building those relationships. And I remember going over there, probably with Stoughton and Hemer and just getting to know them, you know. And then I think Maggie found out that I was like a musician and stuff, and she loved music, and she's putting on CDs, and we eventually became such good friends. My wife and I, it's one of the people that we went back and visited. Dennis and Maggie still in that same house. I can picture the neighborhood. You know, I can't think of the names, but just awesome people, man. Took my wife and I over to the best. Or was this my parents? I think I introduced my parents to them too. The best fish and chips, voted the best fish and chips in like all of the UK for several years. Took us down there, and just incredible people, man. I just miss all of them so much, dude. There's so many great memories, and I just love them all. My next area was Beith, 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 Beith. It's kind of hard to say, and it was a branch. Pretty sure. I don't know what it's like today, but I was there with Elder Anthony Blake from England, and this was about my year mark. And I actually do want to talk about something that happened to me right around when I was with Elder Blake. I kind of feel bad for him because I wasn't like my best self at this time. So it had been about a year, and I was going through some struggles to do with like faith and prayer. And yeah, I think we've all been here, and probably still are, because not all this stuff has, you know, answers. A lot of the stuff is vague, and you know, you just try to look forward and you try to figure it out. But first of all, I'm pretty sure I got SAD, like the seasonal affective disorder. I got depression because like it was always cloudy, just all the time, and they said that's kind of a common thing that can happen. Why'd you laugh, Zach?
Well, you know, I experienced it myself, and I didn't understand why that was the case. But you know,
Yeah.
for you boys and girls from Arizona, I'm sure that was a big thing.
Yeah. So I think it was a combination of that, and I had been chapping doors, talking to people in the streets diligently. And it wasn't like 50,000 doors like you, Christian, but
was getting bigger.
10, 50, 500, whatever, you know.
That's a shout out to Elder Megner right there.
That's Elder Megner. It wasn't that many, but like a lot, you know. And then we also had this key indicator from the president at one point where it was like, in fact, this might have been when I first came out. It was like, in between your appointments, chap an extra 20 doors. Like,
Whoa.
like you get off the bus, you're headed to an appointment, you got 5 minutes, chap a couple doors. Those are like extras, right? It's not a planned, you know, proselyting time. It's the extra stuff in between. It's just getting you to open your mouth. I remember we called it OYM as well. Just open your mouth. Just talk to people in between stuff. Don't just, you know, keep walking. Anyway, I've been doing this for a year, right? Every day. And you know that thing, you pull out the map, we're going to pray, we're going to pick a street, we're going to go there, and nothing would happen, right? I think we've all gone through that. Most of the time, nothing would happen. And with me, my experience, and like you said, Christian, I need answers, right? My brain, this does not compute. Like I was told that if I pray and I have this spiritual experience, this is the street I need to go to. And we have this goal, you know, of doing 3 baptisms today or this week or whatever. You're like, there's your problem right there, Elder Clark. You're like, your goals are a little bit unrealistic now. Why isn't it working? But, you know, nothing would happen. And, of course, you don't know what actually happened in the long run. The seed planting, to me, that was a cop-out. It's like, come on. Yeah. I'm not planting seed. We were told we're here to reap the seeds. The field is white, all ready to harvest. Let's sow. Let's do it, you know? And I'm praying for, you know, every day. I mean, that's a lot of praying, dude. That's a lot. Every day, just do the math. 365 days. How many prayers? How many goals? Of course, we saw success, right? But I just kept not seeing success with stopping people in the streets, for example, or chapping doors. So I went through this frustration right around Anthony Blake and Beeve. And I basically just said, I'm not going to talk to anyone anymore. Like I said, it's all or nothing. But it led me to figure out for myself that I felt it was worth it to just do member missionary work. Because I was like, what is actually working here? Like, can we just like let's step back and let's analyze what's working in the mission. How many doors, like what's the funnel for the doors to get in, to progressing, to baptized? What's that percentage versus member referrals? And it's just a no-brainer, right? And then there's quotes in Preach My Gospel from like President Hinckley, like members is the best way, right? And so I was like, isn't the ideal thing to do the best way for every hour of the day? Like if I could chap 0 doors, let's chap 0 doors and let's fill all our time with members. So that was me for the second half of my mission. I was like, I'm not going to worry right now. I'm not going to bother spending time praying that all these doors open and I get in. Because what of agency? Like, is God just going to force all these people to open their doors just because I said some prayer? Like, I'm telling you, I got super cynical, right? And I was so frustrated. And I just analyzed it and I said, you know what? We're going to do members just all the time now. And thus ignited my fire, or reignited the fire of member missionary work. And it all started with Anthony Blake, but unfortunately, I think the time that I had with him, I was like kind of like a Debbie Downer. So I'm sorry, buddy. But that was like a big change for me on the mission. I was like, honestly, that's like a big life experience too. There's just a lot there in those 6 weeks in Beeve that happened to me. And another thing that happened is my new era came out. I was actually on the cover of the new era, the cover story. It was August 2007, I think.
Like, yeah, it's there next to your bed in a frame.
What is this right here? I like have it.
Jeez.
So then there was all, you know, I wouldn't say pressure, but there was, you know, there was pressure, you know. I mean, of course there's pressure. We put pressure on ourselves. There's pressure from whatever, you know. It wasn't bad though. I loved Eve, dude, that branch. And Marie Breen. I remember teaching her. She was so beautiful, and man, she had recovered from heroin. And she told us that she was on like the methadone and stuff for a while. And I mean, there's a lot of people kind of like that, but like she would go with us and just preach about Jesus to people. You know, it was awesome. You know, anyway, so then it was, I got moved to Knightswood. So back to Glasgow, a little different area though. Knightswood. I was there for a couple moves, and I was with Elder Postak first. And I looked at him and said, "You are Tobey Maguire. How are you not in Hollywood right now being Tobey Maguire's stunt double?"
He looked just like him then?
Yeah. I thought so.
Like
Didn't he?
He sounded like him. His mannerisms were like him.
Yeah, it's so
Crazy.
funny. I had a short time with him. You know, we did good work in Knightswood. Man, there was this guy that we taught, and I can't remember if it was Elder Postak or Elder Farley or both, but Kelvin. Christian, do you remember Kelvin? He was
in the back of my brain.
So he lived in one of those big towers, you know, like I guess the asylum towers or something. But he always dressed to the nines, alligator boots.
Yeah, I can remember now.
Yeah. And I remember President Frederick had to come and interview him at the stake center there. Julian Avenue. Yeah. Because of something, you know, in his past. And, you know, we weren't, you know, it was out of our hands at that point. But he and his wife or mistress, or I don't know, there was a lot going on there.
Actually, Kelvin made an appearance in my podcast. I know exactly who you're talking about. It was the mistress. Yeah, that's who, he had another house, didn't he, across the road with his wife. That's who I went to the funeral to.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I didn't want to like think about it or go there, but like you could tell, you know.
Yeah.
But they were so nice, man. And I remember going there and teaching, and she made us this African meal, and it was my first time eating a fish head with an eyeball. Were you with me on that one?
Because they had the fish eyes, the whole thing.
Yes, dude. I forgot you were with me on that. I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
must have been at exchanges that day or something. Anyway, wow. just awesome, man. You know, and it's just awesome, guys. Like, this is just so much fun, just reminiscing. And I just want to take a second. How much time do we have left? I mean, I don't even know how much time it's been. It might have been 6 hours by now, and I can't even tell.
You haven't
I'm seeing somewhere like 2 hours. You take as long as you like.
You haven't beat the record yet.
Okay. I don't even see how much time it's like on the screen. Anyway, that's probably a good thing.
You're good.
So, just 4 companions left, and then I have some more memories I just wanted to go back over, you know, of the people and some funny things, some great things. Next was Elder Farley, Alistair Farley. I freaking love that guy. And I actually haven't like kept in touch with him. I think I've tried a couple times on Facebook, and I didn't really haven't heard back and stuff, but dude, Elder Farley and I just hit it off from the beginning, dude. And we were just flying, you know. It was just so much fun. It's always fun when you're successful, you know, and you're busy, of course, but it was just great, dude. Like, not one time did we ever butt heads or anything. He was always just like, yeah, sounds great. You know, this is awesome. And just like, so like, just awesome, man. I really miss Elder Farley, dude. I literally haven't ever talked to him, I don't think, since the mission, dude. But you know, looked up his Facebook and stuff. It looks like he's doing great, but you know, it's Facebook, so who really knows? Anyway, and I do want to, okay. So I think it was with Elder Farley. It might have been with Elder Postak a bit too, but I want to talk about the Mullins. The Mullen family. We went over, I think at the time in our books, they were considered like, you know, less active or whatever. And, you know, here I am. I'm just doing numbers. And, you know, one time I was on exchange with Elder McCullers. You got to get Elder McCullers on here. I miss that guy, dude. I miss him a lot. Brett, come on, get on here. I don't know if you've been reached out to, but I can't wait for your episode. It's already happening in my mind.
I reached out to him. Haven't heard back. I don't know. I don't know that he's responded yet. So, Elder McCullers, come on. I have some fun. I have some funny stories with regards to him too, because he was a greenie with Elder Lynch in Was it Stornoway? Yeah. When I was a zone leader in Aberdeen, and man, he's a good guy.
Oh, so great! And his story is that he was less active, and someone reactivated him, and then he went on a mission. And I remember I was on exchanges. We were just walking down a road, and I kid you not, I actually remember we talked to this guy who was in his garden, just walking by, and his name was Herb. And the only reason I remember that is because that's when I realized, yet again, that everyone in Britain pronounces the H's like at the beginning of certain names. And I'm like, isn't it Herb? And he's like, no, Herb with an H. I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, we were just walking. Oh, do you want to hear a message? No. Anyway, on that walk, I'll never forget. Elder McCullers told me, he's like, honestly, I would rather reactivate, a less active family than like find new people. And of course he wanted to find new people, right? But coming from his background, that really hit me. I was like, oh yeah, dude, like there's so much power in that, there's so much potential. So anyway, went to visit a bunch of less actives and members, and I remember putting all the dots on the map back then. I feel so old. Gosh.
Did they do that on the iPad now?
Oh, I'm sure it's all there for them. They just click a button, filter by, and it's just there probably. You guys don't know the struggle.
Do they even see real people now, or are they just on the Facebook?
Yeah,
probably a little bit of both, right?
Yeah. So we visited the Mullins, and then their daughter Heather walked down the stairs, and turns out she wasn't a member at the time, and she started listening in, and I've always said this: she made my mission worth it. The memories, the relationships there. She ended up joining the church. She's now married to this awesome, funny guy named Ron, and oh man, I've kept in touch with that family. My wife and I, when we went back, we went and visited them, met Ron, had dinner with them. Just such great families. I think the McDonald's lived right up the street from them too. There was a bunch of people in that area. And man, I just miss them. Just wonderful, wonderful people. And I know I'm leaving out so many people that I love. There's just not enough time, but pretty sure that was me and Elder Farley. I'm pretty sure. And just had the best time. Next was Elder Whitehead. So fun. Justin Whitehead. Pretty sure his name's Justin Whitehead. And that was in Bridge of Dawn. Was that Aberdeen? Mm-hmm. Is that?
Yep.
Yeah. Aberdeen Steak, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
So I spent 6 weeks up kind of in Aberdeen. I kind of was able to get out of the Glasgow, what do you call it? Vortex?
The triangle.
Oh, yeah. For me, it was the vortex.
The vortex. And
tractor beam sucked you right in.
Yeah.
I was going through some pictures with me and Elder Whitehead, and there was a lot of snow, and just great. I had a great time up there. And Elder Black, dude. Well, I remember I wanted to visit him in Ireland because my wife and I went over to Ireland for a couple of days, and we couldn't make it up to where he was at. I love Elder Black, dude. Love that guy. Can't even think of his first name. What's his first name, Christian? Silence.
I've no idea.
I got it right. It's it's right. I can look it up in 1 second, but it doesn't matter. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Elder's his name.
Elder Black. Just love him, man.
Yeah. So Brian Black. Is it
Brian Black? Is it Brian Black? Maybe it is. Let me see. I'm just going to look it up.
Can you carry on? I'll look it up. That's okay. Feel like a new role on the podcast right now.
Yeah, Brian Black. I see it here. It's Brian Black. So yeah, you're right. You're right. And he was up there. There was only a few of us up there at the time. There was one. I feel there was one district. Anyway, great. Just again, great times. And then I moved to Edinburgh with Andrew Harrison. And Christian, I got some funny things to say. I don't know if you like knew this. So we got along okay, you know, no problems there. Hard worker, very different personalities. And I feel like he was always just serious faced with me, and very quiet. He only said what he needed to say, and that was it. There was no joking around. And then on P Day, I see him playing tennis with Christian, and you guys are just laughing, best of friends. And I'm like, oh man, that's like those times you realize, like, oh, I guess I'm like not the friend. I'm like, we're not friends. I guess he doesn't like me.
Jeez.
You know?
This is English Harrison, right?
Yes.
So he's the one that was with Brian Black that had the Ned attack.
Oh.
But I think this must have been afterwards. So unless it was before and he had some PTSD or something, but I'm sure this was afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah. He was good, but he was like, he'd grown up posh. And so he'd had tennis lessons. He had like
Yeah.
And he just had perfect form.
I have pictures and videos of you two playing tennis.
Wow.
I'll have to send them to you.
There's a video. Many things.
As you're the afterthought sitting on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? So this is I'm almost done with my mission at this point. And you know, I'm getting a little drunky, just a little bit, you know, we all do. We start thinking, oh, it's coming up, you know, and music, you know, ooh. And I remember you and him were playing tennis, right? And I was just watching like a freaking loser. And I just walked back to the van and I just sat in the van. I could see you, right? You got to see each other, right? But I'm sitting in the van by myself and I was like, screw this. And I turned on the radio for like 20 seconds to listen to like pop music.
I hope it was Britney Spears or something ridiculous.
I can't remember who it was, dude. But I was like, oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I was like, I'm not the tennis player. I'm the musician. All right, you guys stay over there and play tennis. I'm going to start getting ready to take over the world with my music for 20 seconds. And then I turned it off.
The guilt of 20 seconds of pop music.
The little guilt of 20 seconds. Yeah. But it was great. You know, we had fun. In fact, he wrote a note. English Harrison, right?
Yeah.
So we baptized Barbara Turnbull together. He said, oh, and he passed his driving test with me. So he would, every P Day, he would have the instructor come pick him up and I'd be in the back seat and he'd practice for his driving exam, right? And I remember like one point the instructor would hold up his hand and then he had to like brake like a certain way or whatever. And then he said right here, he said, I passed my practical driving test with 2 minors. I don't know what that means. Is that good or bad?
That's good. Very good.
Very good, yeah. So I was with him through all of his training to get his license. And he said the final week's numbers were 2/1. Is that 2 scheduled, 1 baptized? 2 baptized, 1 scheduled? 17 progressing maybe? 30 something? 30 lessons? I don't know. I forget. I have to look at my handbook. 139 of something lessons maybe, and 48 of something else.
Jack and Zach won't understand those numbers.
I got my white books
they
right next to us, and my weekly numbers had a lot of zeros in there.
Yeah,
a lot of zeros. So I do not remember these numbers or anything. I mean, but these sound like pretty good numbers. And he wrote it in here, and he's like, "Nay, bad," you know. So you know, we had a good 6 weeks, and then I finished up in Leaf. Oh, that's like bead with an L.
Leaf.
And I'm pretty sure that was in Edinburgh somewhere. Still. In fact, I know it was. And we had a cool flat, man. It was like upstairs and it was huge. Really tall ceilings. You can see the pipes. You know what that is?
Yeah, I was there.
You were there.
The dishwasher, massive kitchen.
Yes.
So nice.
Dude. So my last 6 weeks with Elder Kellen Whetstone, fun guy. That's like the punchline of a mushroom joke.
Oh my
Super
gosh!
fun.
I wish I could have spent more time with you on the mission. Gosh,
I know, man.
you made me laugh. Too good.
So yeah, finished up with him, and then my parents actually came and picked me up like a week early, or maybe it was 2 weeks. I think it was a week early because we spent a week in Scotland, me and my parents, and then a week down in England. And remember, we came and you actually let us stay in your house, Christian.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
We went down and visited you, and Loganberg was home by then too. So I remember I saw Loganberg. He was around there, and a couple other people, and then I was able to go home. My stake president would not release me over the phone though. So all the while I'm with my parents, I was just in my proselyting outfit. I'm saying my prayers. I'm doing my study. My parents are like waiting for me to like go wherever we're going. It's kind of silly if you ask me, but I was like, well, I'm still a missionary. It's black and white, so I'm going to be a missionary still. I don't think I'm
proselyting with your parents then.
No, I was going to say I need to go proselyting with my parents though.
Remember, after 1 year, he didn't do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. He was doing member missionary work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Visiting Christian and Logie Bear.
Logie Bear. Yeah. Anyway, so there's just a couple more stories that I wrote down when I was thinking. Oh yeah, this member yelled at me. He's notorious for having a bad temper, and he was up in I think he was in Beeve. I'm pretty sure this was in Beeve, and he was kind of an older guy, like a seasoned member. And I remember I asked him to take Anne Marie home. I was like, we're trying to find a ride. He's like, oh, I'll take her home after church. So after church, she's like sitting in the lobby, and like he's talking to people. It's like fine, whatever. Church starts emptying out. He's still there talking. There's like no one there now except for us. And I'm like, this is like awkward, dude. Like if I put myself in his shoes, and if I agree to take a member home, why would I make them like wait? I mean, I feel like we were waiting for like 30 minutes or like 40 minutes, like, or maybe it just felt that way. But like everyone was gone, and I remember I kind of was leaning in and just making sure she got a ride home because we didn't have a car. And then I remember I kind of went in and I was like, oh hey, and he snapped. He yelled. I'm telling you, everyone was looking. It was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever been through, especially with a investigator there. You know what I'm saying? Dude. But I just swallowed it. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was so awkward, dude. I remember I went and visited them later, and like I feel like no one even brought it up. It was so awkward. But I mean, she got baptized and everything, so there you go.
Wow. Worked out.
Worked out. Yep. Okay. Yep. Zone conference. Oh, dude. Okay, so Christian, I don't know if you remember this. I feel like you were there. There was a zone conference. Remember when I started this podcast and I was talking about how I just always wanted to go on a mission, and it took me like a year for it to just sink in. And every day I was putting on my badge, I was just like, I can't believe I'm a missionary. I was so excited, happy, and grateful to be there. Well, after zone conference, right next to the mission home one time, right out front of that stake center, something was happening. There was a conversation. President Fredricks was there, and there was a few other missionaries there. And there was a missionary that, like, I feel like he kind of had a little bit of issues. You know what I'm talking about?
You know exactly what. I know who it is as well.
Oh
I
my
remember
gosh.
exactly what you talked about.
Yes, because I feel like you came up to me. So I catch wind of what's happening. And this missionary wanted, correct me if I'm wrong, he wanted to serve a mission. He was there because he wanted to, and he was trying. He had some learning disabilities, some stuff, it's difficult. I think he wanted to be there, right? And I caught wind that, like, I think it was his dad, right? That like was like, I'm bringing him home. Is that right, Christian?
Well, I'm thinking of a different experience.
Okay, well let's bring up yours in a second, because that one sounds hilarious. So there's a missionary that was struggling, and we caught wind that, And I was standing right there, and President Fredricks said, you've got to go home. Your dad is asking for you to come home. And that missionary broke down crying. And he said, but I want to be here, but I'm trying. And he's like, we have to follow your parents. He's like, we got to send you home. And that hit me so hard. I went back in the chapel and I sat down and I started sobbing. And I thought maybe you were there. I thought, Christian, maybe you saw me crying or something. I can't remember who was there. I was sobbing so hard because here's a guy just like me, right? Who really wanted to be there. He wanted so bad to serve. He was doing his best. He was trying so hard. But he couldn't stay. He couldn't be there. That was taken away from him. And I was just so sad for him and just overwhelmed because I was so grateful every second that I was on my mission that I was able to be a missionary, that I was able to be there. That was a really powerful time because I was like, man, this is a gift. You know, it's a gift to us all. And here's this missionary, and this gift is being taken away from him. And, you know, maybe it was the right call on his dad. I don't know what was going on, but that really hit me. What was your story, Christian? What were you thinking of?
It's going to kind of ruin your story.
I can tell. It's okay. We're moving quick here. Go.
There was an incident where there was a bishop in the Edinburgh stake. I didn't really know what happened, but there was a missionary there was a fist fight between the missionary and the bishop. So I thought that's where you were going, but no.
Oh, was that?
Yours was a better story.
Was that a missionary that came out with us?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that one. So I was also proposed to on my mission.
Nice.
I think her name was Elsie Gallagher. Does anyone remember her?
Do you know what area she's in?
I'm pretty sure it's Glasgow area. I think I was with Elder Pattenden. Elsie Gallagher. She was like, I don't know.
Name sounds familiar. I don't know.
She was maybe in her 40s. I don't know, 50s. And she was single. I mean, she had kids and everything. And she proposed to me. And then later on my mission, she wrote me a letter proposing to me again. I'm pretty sure I still have it. You never forget the first time you're proposed to, you know? We will be so happy together. Can't you see? You know, this will be amazing. Just come marry me. And, you know, we taught her, and she just got a little too close, I think.
So she was a member or an investigator?
No, I think she was an investigator.
I had the same thing happen to me, and it was like all my dreams had come true at once. Not for the reason you might think, but this girl was in Pollock. So after she'd called me, and I think I was in Edinburgh or something like that, and I did. There's some areas I didn't want to go to, as you probably understood. Pollock was one of those areas, and I think there's a couple of missionaries that had witnessed. I think it was came out with us, Chadwick, Elder Chadwick. So he'd witnessed a murder outside his flat, another gang fight, and so I'd heard about this. And I was like, I do not want to go there. And so this girl had been on the phone, you know, saying she wanted to marry me, all this kind of stuff. As soon as that phone call was over, President, I cannot go to Pollock. There's a girl there.
Oh my God.
So that was it. That was me safe. I'm never going to Pollock because of this girl that was saved me from that experience.
Dude, I also remember Elder, I think it was Stoddard and I, we were proselyting in this one area, and I remember what it looked like on a map. It was like a little neighborhood, and like this, sort of with an M, I think. And the next day, we saw in the news that in that area, Macedonia. Oh, is it called Macedonia? Did I just make that up? Anyway,
I don't think you were chapping in Macedonia.
Well, I think it was
not
just
the
a little
country
section. No, it was a section of a city. Anyway, it was something like that. And the next day we saw that they found like body parts chopped up in like the bins out in that neighborhood from that night that we were there. That's about the closest I came.
Could have been you, man. Could have been you.
Could have been me. So I just wanted to also mention the McKees, Bobby McKee. I mean, that whole family, love them. Of course, the Pattersons, the Moncriefs, the Dempseys, the Gowans, Ishbel Gowan, Mark Ricard. You remember Mark Ricard? The Duncansons, the Lytles. I mean, Andrea and Craig Mitchell. Oh, with Elder Hardy. Okay, so I'll leave you with these two stories from Elder Hardy. First, one of the first things I did, I think the first members I met were Andrea and Craig Mitchell on my whole mission. Love them. In fact, had a Skype with them or a Facebook call or something like probably maybe a year ago now with them, caught up with them and their family, introduced my wife and everything, and just love them. So genuine. And we went over there to help them paint their fence, their backyard. And Brother Mitchell had a bag that you put around your waist.
Oh yeah.
So I said, "Oh, that's a nice fanny pack you got there." and then everyone just started laughing, and I'm just like, "What? You don't like it, or like, is it not a good one? Like, it's not a good brand?" So they had to explain that fanny did not mean bum in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, fanny is the front bum.
That's exactly. It's the wrong side. So they're just laughing, and they said, "We call it a bum bag." And I was like, "Oh shoot!" I'm so embarrassed. So funny.
I can tell you, I made the same mistake in my first area, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It was we're in the MTC actually. There was the counselor to President Winwood who had given a talk, and in his talk he said that he slapped somebody on the fanny. Like, what the heck? So afterwards, I said, just so you know, that's what it means here. And he was like, "I don't care."
Oh my gosh.
He just didn't care. I'm going to say what I'm going to say, you English folk.
Baller. That's awesome. Okay, and then last story. Then I do want to bring up the footage, Christian, that I was able to uncover.
You can kind of control that narrative.
Yeah. So the last story I want to share is it's like with Elder Hardy being trained first week out, and we had putting all the appointments in the calendar, and one of them was with this woman who he bumped into in the street and asked if he'd come see her, and he said yes, or she said yes, and that she's interested in the plan of salvation specifically. So we prepared the plan of salvation. I'm getting my notes and stuff. So we go over to her house, and she lets us in. And it's just her and then me and Elder Hardy. And we sit down. And I'm like, "Hey, well, nice to meet you. I hear you're interested in the plan of salvation." And she said, "Yeah." And then she looks over to this chair next to me and starts talking. And she goes, "What was that? Oh, you want me to? Okay." And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, I want to introduce you to my friend Euphemia." And I turn over, and there's an empty chair. And I was like, "Oh, okay." She's right here. And she was like, yeah, go ahead. And I was like, she's like, "Oh, what was that?" And she wants to hear about this plan of salvation that Elder Hardy was telling me about in the street. And I said, "Oh, okay." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, so in the spirit world," and she says, No, talk to Euphemia. And so I was like, "Okay." So I was like, I looked over to this chair and I said, "In the spirit world, where you're at now, my heart is racing, guys. My heart's racing." And I said, whatever. I'm talking, right? Doing my thing. And then suddenly we hear a door slam down the hall, and we all jump. And I'm looking over, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, that's just Bill." And Bill? He said, "Yeah, Bill the pirate." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, this chick has spirits in her house. I don't really feel comfortable right now. I'm not sure. Is the veil being thin a good thing? Or I had all these mixed thoughts, right? So then she said, "He's actually kind of mad though." She's like, "I'm not sure he likes you being here." And I was like, oh my gosh, my heart started beating. I'm sweating. And then shampoo bottles started flying down the hall from Bill. And she's like, oh my gosh. So we get up and she's like, you guys need to go. You guys need to go now. And then Elder Hardy pushes me like, run, Elder Clark, run. I run out the front door. I jump the fence. I'm down the street. And I realize he's not behind me. I turn around and he goes, you've been punked.
Oh no.
And it was Sister Jean Colthart, a member, and her son was in the back room. Punked me, man. Oh, dude. It was so funny. And we were there for like a dinner appointment.
Jeez Louise.
Have you guys got Elder Hardy coming on?
I have retrieved his phone number, so I will be reaching out to him shortly. It was right before I went on vacation, so I needed to touch base with him. I'll be excited to catch up with him. You know, we had 2 fun-filled weeks, and obviously, being in his district, we went on exchanges a couple times, so he's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to know where that tradition started, because I'm pretty sure he told me that he got punked. So you'll have to ask him about it. And then I punked Elder Pattenden. I was like, I'm going to carry this on, Sister Cole.
Really?
Yeah. So I did it with him, and she went a little bit further with it. When Elder Patton and I came in, she had a table with a book on it, and there were like spiders or something. It was like witchcrafty right away. And she was like doing some stuff, and it escalated not that far, but it was more demonic, quicker. And Elder Patton literally stood up and said, "We're leaving, Elder Clark," and he walked himself out. And then I was like, "Oh, you've been punked." I don't know if he liked it as much as I did.
I bet he didn't like it.
Especially because we probably weren't hitting it off, and then I'm trying to anyway. You'll have to ask Patton about that too if he comes on here, dude.
Okay.
See what his recollection is. But I tried to carry it on. I tried to carry on the tradition. I don't know if Sister Colard ever did it again after that, but that was a fun little tradition there.
Oh my gosh.
And then on the Elder Holland topic, and 110 kilometers an hour. Was it kilometers?
I wish it was kilometers.
Oh, it was miles? Oh, I was going to ask.
Jeez.
So yeah, it was actually really cool. I actually got to play my cello, like you were mentioning, Christian, for Elder Holland when he came and spoke to the stake. And I put a piece together with Sister Gilmore and her daughters. And
Yeah.
Bethany has she's the Poopery girl.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah, and she I think she lives in Scottsdale now. Actually, she lives here.
They were there.
Yeah, but Sister Kay Gilmore, dude, loved her. Like she and I were coming up with these arrangements. I feel like it was love one another, and we were coming up with these chords. Did you play as well, Christian?
No.
Okay.
But you played it, and it was the most beautiful musical item I think I'd ever heard. And then President Frederick asked for me to sing and you to play. We did it again in Edinburgh for something or other. It was just not as good because the girl was so talented.
Yeah.
A phenomenal, beautiful, beautiful musical item.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. That's cool hearing your perspective on that. I think I started with some pizzicato, but like Sister Gilmore, incredible pianist, musician, all the girl, everyone's singing in harmony. Then I'm joining in. It was awesome, man. And Elder Holland called me out too. He was like, "Where's Elder Clark?" Like it was pretty cool. And then yeah. So after I watched your interview, Christian, I was like, okay. I remember as soon as you started talking about you getting pulled over out loud when I was watching this in my room, I said, "I've got the footage of this." and then you were like, "Oh, I think Zach Elder Clark was there, and he took video of it." So I looked on my hard drive, and I had a hard drive crash several years back, and I was only able to recover a couple folders from it. And so I looked through it, and it wasn't there. But I thought, I think it's on my parents' computer still. But they got a new computer. There's it's been that long. So I went to my mom's house yesterday, and I found the mother load. dude, we got to be like, let's put this in a link or something. Like people, I want to show, like people need to, I feel like people are going to want to see it. I'm going to want to see it. So I found when you got, I keep saying arrested, but I found footage of you, and I waited. I didn't want to pull my camera out in front of the cop. So like you walked away, I get my camera out and I like start hitting record, and then I try to like, you know, expose it on you, and right in time to see you I feel like you stepped yourself into the back of the police car. I feel like he got in the front seat and he's like, get in the back. And then I started recording and you just like got yourself into the back of this police car.
Yeah, you sent me the footage. So I was feeling terrible, you know, stomach through the floor kind of moment. In my mind, you two were also feeling terrible in the car. You and Quinn Copeland are just laughing and gleeful. You were just lapping this situation up.
Oh my god!
Zero empathy for me.
Yeah,
I don't know. The worst moments.
I don't know if I'd ever showed you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know. Like, I didn't know Elder Holland. Did you say he like stopped and got out with Elder Care?
As I was going in, I could see their car driving back, looking at me.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I forgot that detail. But yeah, there's me. Like, I have footage. I'm like, hey, Elder Cofer, like, what do you think? And he's like, that was intense. And I like go to the steering wheel, like the driver's seat, and it's empty. And I'm like, Elder Lucas isn't here. Guess why? And I turn around. He's in the police car. I was like goofing around. It's so funny, dude. So I found that footage. I actually found it. I got it. So funny. I mean, I feel like I can only take like 10-second clips on my old camera, like cyber shot, something stupid. So, anyway, then it gets better because I found more footage. Apparently, right after that, that was the drive. Apparently, I think that was the next day. But the day before, we had been driving back up to Dundee because we like rapped about it. Because I have footage of us doing like beatbox and rap battles with each other on the drive. me and Christian and Quinn Cofer. And it is super funny. I forgot all about that. Were you able to watch those ones, Christian?
Yeah, I've had a little look. My rapping skills are nothing for me to look over with any tenderness or happiness.
Oh yeah. I mean, I totally choked. The one where you can see all of us, I was like, I just laughed, and then dude, Cofer took it, and I feel like he was legit, like at least for like the first part.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he practiced on his own in the mirror. His raps like, and riffs.
He's like getting ready,
just ready for this moment where he can just pull it out.
Yeah, and then I found footage of us with the music group, and of course the Mission music group was just awesome. I still have the folder of the sheet music, like the arrangements. I have one of the folders still. I kept it. Sorry, after all these years, and just great times, man. Sister Holmquist, of course, Sister Wellington, Elder Patel, dude, yeah. Love that guy. Elder Van Leuven was in it. I think this was like the second year. Just so many great times. I mean, how many wards did we go around to? Like, I feel like we did a bunch of performances, didn't we?
Yeah, it was good. I was busy doing all sorts of stuff at that time, but the music group was just a lovely relief, and just felt like we were doing such good, so many people at one time. I remember in Dundee, weren't we, at one time? And they just advertised the heck out of this thing, and there were just hundreds of people there. Really, really good experience.
Yeah, real special.
I just wanted to ask a question for you two. While Zach is here, he's spoken about that year mark where he just felt, chapping doors is just horrible. And I've listened to so many podcasts. I've listened to, there was a couple of guys that came on together, and then there was Brandon Osmond, and there was just guys from before us in the Vriens area. And their mission sounds so different to what we'd experienced for ourselves when we were kind of focusing on member missionary work. And it just sounded really difficult. And I know, Jack, you'd spoken about the mental health issues that you'd had when you got back. And there was another guy that, I can't remember his name, but he'd been diagnosed with bipolar, and Zach had spoken about the same thing. So I just wanted to know really how did you guys cope? Because we didn't do it like you did it. Because I'd worked out after 6 weeks that that was a terrible idea. How did you guys cope for 2 years doing that?
So
And what have you got out of it? Because obviously we all get different things out of our missions. But I want to know what, because at that time it's just different seasons for different people, isn't it?
yeah.
So how did you cope with that methodology for that long? And how do you feel like it's affected you in your lives for the last, well, since you've been back?
I have not knocked a door since the mission. No. That's a good question. I think a good thing to think about too. And that as I've talked to people who were before and after me, I realized that different people served at different times for different reasons. For me and how like introverted I am, and some of the personality traits that I have, the things that probably going door to door was probably the easiest way for me to share the gospel. Now I did find the most success on my mission when I was working with members and getting that done. Like talking about Glenn Roth, this like great ward, just naturally doing member missionary work, full of people who had that mindset. And even though I chapped, all the time there as well, it was less because we were teaching with the members. And I got really good at chapping. Like I could teach 40 lessons a week just going door to door, which probably most missionaries couldn't. And I've thought about that though, like since the mission, like definitely not the way I would share the gospel now. Like I get to know my neighbors, and share who I am with my coworkers, things like that, And it was just a different time. When I first got into the mission, one of our numbers to report every week was the hours spent chapping, and the goal was 64.
No way.
So
Wow.
it just evolved from that, right? Changed to 0. So
yeah.
And
Zack, like, is such a Jack. I'm getting that from you too, but Zack is just such a personable chap. I think that you naturally did that anyway. I'm being serious. In the time in Aberdeen, just members just loved you. You just so genuine. That was something. And Zack Clark, also just for me, serving around you with just having such a unique talent and gift. And then coupling that with member missionary work and just doing things differently. It was just great to see that. And I'm not surprised at all at how successful the things have gone for you after the mission, just because of the personality and the things that you were able to learn on the mission and putting those two things together.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I would say that my experience, I kind of feel like I was the bridge between Jack's era and your era, because I spent 3/4 of my mission under the tutelage of President and Sister Vriens, and that was kind of the mindset that they had. Was I think I mentioned it in our podcast that we did with President and Sister Vriens. Was President Vriens said, "How'd you stay so handsome?" And I said, "Well, I chapped a lot of doors in the rain," which was one of the things that older missionaries told us. Hey, your wife's going to be so much more hotter if you go and chap doors in the rain. And I thought to myself, okay, well, I guess that's one good reason to go and do something like that. But I look back on my own experience in the areas that I had, and because I was in three of the wards that I served in, I was there for 6 months in duration. So that was 3/4 of my mission. And if I would have implemented a little bit more of the methodologies to spend time with the members, and then invite them to be the member missionaries that came about eventually in the mission, I'm sure I would have seen some more successes. But at the same time, I still look back on my mission, and there were still successes that were there. It just wasn't in the same manner that you and other missionaries after my time had those successes. And so, but honestly, like when we were in Aberdeen together, Christian, I don't know if you knew this, but so Stuart Pattenden and I were transferred in after the previous zone leaders had been emergency transferred out of the ward. And my first sit down conversation with President Payne was, hey, there's just rumors swirling about what these missionaries did and why they were moved out, abruptly. And honestly, your job at this point in time is to attach the relationship with the missionaries to the members. And so I look back at Aberdeen and everything that I did. I remember we used to have the rule of don't be at a dinner appointment for more than an hour. And there were a couple of times where, other Pattenden would kind of nudge me. I'd be like, hey, we're good. Let's take some time. And that time was so important in building relationships with these people that they began to trust us as missionaries further. And then after my 6 months that I was gone, Elder Peacock was still there, and Peacock had success with member missionary work. He was implementing that and seeing, certain people that were introducing family members and friends to the missionaries. And I know for a certainty that doesn't happen without the time that we spent, doing the ward movie night with Johnny Lingo. And after you left, we did like a Disney music night where we did like lip syncs to famous Disney songs. And there's a YouTube video out. I'll have to share it on the because we did one skit with all the missionaries, and Elder Peacock decided to be the yodeling peacock, and he did like the yodeling skit from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh my gosh,
that was a lot of fun. And again, this is our entire district. So it was all the missionaries from Peterhead, Brigidon, the 2 sets from Aberdeen, and I think that was it. It was just the 4 groups. Maybe there were 2 sets of missionaries of Brigidon. And then we did a skit to Kiss the Girl with the Little Mermaid, which was a little bit risque because Quinn Cofer dressed up as Ariel in the boat.
Oh my gosh.
And I was Sebastian, which I was the largest red crab you've ever seen in your life. But that was an endearing thing to the members. I mean, if you remember, Christian, how many times I was referred to as the Relief Society president because of my brief skit that I did in that Johnny Lingo, where I was the Relief Society president at some Relief Society meeting. But that just was a way of me showing my personality as well as showing my love of the people through just being myself. And I've talked about it before, but if I were to go back, I wish I would have done it more like that the entire mission. But I'm glad I figured it out when I did, because it's changed the way that I interact with people. I'm not going to skirt who I am, kind of like what Jack said. I introduce myself. I tell them I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they look at me and they go, "You're Mormon?" And I'm like, "Yep." Any questions? Because I'm not about to run away from that part of who I am just because there's some stereotypical things that may cause people to question how I live my life, So anyway, that's just my take on it. But it's been so fascinating to hear the experiences beyond the time when I went home, because it was almost as if, because I went home in January of 2007, it was almost like a light switch had been switched from off to on after I left, and everything changed. And whether that was a positive experience for everyone or a negative experience doesn't really matter. The bottom line is that it started Scotland on fire to the point where there was incredible successes in bringing people to the church.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I got a couple names to run by you, Clark, while we got you on here.
Okay.
From Glenroth, the first is Grace Rankin.
Rankin?
Yeah.
I can't.
No?
I don't know. I can't think right now. No.
All right. The other would be Shanika Quinn.
Shanika Quinn.
They would have been a recent convert, her and her two daughters, when you were there.
I feel bad because I probably knew that, but okay. I can't think.
It's a shot in the dark.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Because after I left the mission, I got a letter that was addressed to the first two elders from this Shanika Quinn. And apparently I, like myself and Elder Parmenter, introduced her to the gospel, but weren't able. We left the mission at the same time. We weren't able to continue teaching her, but she joined the church. So just trying to make that connection.
Yeah, dang. Yeah, I wish I had a great story there. But
I'm sure by the time Zack and his companions were there, they had implemented the ward mission leader and other members to be teaching those new member discussions, because I remember that was part of what we did in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Where they basically said, okay, well, the post-baptism stuff has got to be anchored with somebody in the mission, or in the ward, or in the branch, that can be that baseline person to continually be a reference when you're not there anymore.
Yeah, and that ward was great for that too. You mentioned Alan Black; he was the ward mission leader when I was there. So awesome,
phenomenal. Awesome. Yeah, his lessons in the like gospel principles class were incredible for even me, like for everyone. And like he would have everyone read from the manual, because don't assume everyone's read the lesson, guys. Like, let's read it, you know. And then we have like really good open-ended discussions about it, and it's just, he's a perfect teacher, man. I introduced my wife to him too when we visited. Just love him. Oh man, there's so many people I like. Lindsay and Fraser McCallum, I got to talk about them. I love them and their family. There's just so many people. Anyway,
that's what we've noticed with all of these, right? You go on and on and on, and never reach the end of people who influenced our lives, let alone us being there. So
agreed. Well, Zack, any last thoughts about how Scotland has impacted your life for good or for worse?
For better or for worse.
That's right.
Till death do us part. No, I've said. I mean, I've already kind of said it. I could obviously reiterate it. I wanted to be a missionary so bad, and I couldn't believe I actually got to do it, man. And like I kind of discussed, not everyone got to. Not everyone gets to. And I just soaked it all in. You know, every second of it, I tried my best. You know, I can honestly say that. And you know, I do not literally think about it every day, though. I hear people say that. Quinn Covert said that. I don't know if it's literally possible to think about your mission every single day. And here's the other thing. How do you prove that? And if you missed a day, wouldn't you forget anyway? And you'd think you did it every day? Anyway.
Quinn's a simpler mind than you.
These are the things I think about. No, I know. I take everything literally, man. I try to be literal and exact, and it could be obviously so stupid for me to do that in certain situations.
I reckon Hewlett does. He's got that Scottish flag behind him. I reckon he's got bed sheets that are, you know, the Scottish saltire.
Bed sheets. Oh my word. Yeah, that's definitely me.
But yeah, it taught me about people, relationships. You know, the companionship inventory thing with Pattenden is still one of the most impactful experiences. I reflect on that a lot, and even in my marriage now, you know, I like to say, like, I would rather tell you what's wrong right now, even if it's uncomfortable for us, instead of letting it go and holding it in. I do not stand by that, though, guys. Like, it just keeps going, and like there's you can get too extreme with it. Like, if you just say it right in the moment,
that is terrible advice.
Yeah. Like, I need to learn that not everything needs to be said right now, and probably not everything needs to be said. I think we all agree with that. And it's actually good to make sure you think about it first. And of course, my experience with Elder Pattenden, it was like a month probably before we had that, you know. And so I knew what we were feeling. We both knew it, and we finally addressed it. There's such power in that, and like taking your time, you know, doing your best, and then like trying it, and then just keep going. And then like, if it's just not working, now let's address it. You know, let's figure it out, talk it through, make an action plan, you know, all those great things, man. It's just the whole mission to me. There's just so many aspects of it, but like all in all, it was just like an intensive training for like life. You know, there's all kinds of relationships that we have. We still have friendships, right? You have, of course, you know, your spouses. We've got our kids now. You know, and of course, being in Simply 3, you know, when we do shows and we're talking with our fans afterwards, like in the lobby and stuff, there's those relationships. There's the whole social media thing, and I could harp on that for hours. Like, I don't like it these days because it's just fake. Like, most of it's fake. And you know what? Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes that's good. Go on TikTok, see some funny skits. Okay, sweet. Of course, it's a skit. It's not real, you know, whatever. But like, I mean, for like 10 years, of course, with Simply 3, we're trying to do marketing and get our online presence, our social media. And we're trying to see the trends and trying to see like, okay, what are people doing? What are musicians doing? How are you getting out your product out there? You know, and then I just got, I got too deep in, as I do. And I was just like, this is not good. It's not healthy. At least you're looking at it every day, and then you're comparing yourself and you think everyone's lives are perfect. And it's like, no, this is just fake. Like, this is one little picture, one moment out of their whole day. They probably had a fight that morning. They probably slept on the couch that night, but you see this great picture and you think it's real. Everyone's great. It's just bad. You know, it's bad for self-esteem. I mean, especially with the upcoming like Gen Z and stuff. Like you know, there's some documentaries on this stuff too, but like the mission was training, in my opinion, in my experience, for all of this stuff. You know, I have a foundation there of like the real human interaction, real communication. Of course, it wasn't perfect. And I look back and, you know, I was a different person back then, you know, than I am now. And I look back and I laugh and I roll my eyes. I look back and I smile, you know, and you take all that and you learn from it and we just keep going, you know, and I wouldn't change a thing about my mission. I'm so grateful that I got to go. I love Scotland. I love the people. I love everyone. That's a very long closing statement, but thank you. So that's kind of my thoughts, and just really, really grateful for my mission and grateful for this podcast too. So thanks you guys.
No, we appreciate you being willing to take time and to come on and share your thoughts and feelings and good memories. And, you know, that's what this is all about. It's an opportunity to recollect, to remember, to remind, to give us all, you know, a reminder that it wasn't 2 years of slogging through knocking doors or what you guys experienced. But it, you know, it's something that's impacted our lives for better or for worse. And, you know, no matter what's going on in life, we can all look back at that time where life may have been much simpler. And hopefully it's with fondness to remember all the things that we enjoyed together. So, Zach, we appreciate you. Just before we close this out real quick, I know in one of our last podcasts with Ashley Devine, he had asked about Sister Bonnie Siegmiller. And, you know, I was thinking about her when you brought up your service in Beath. She was the companion of Sister Reed, who was on and in Beath when I was in Johnston. And I had a couple of missionaries that reached out and let me know that she passed away in May of this year. So,
oh wow!
Unfortunately, we just missed her as an opportunity to get on the podcast. But hopefully, she's looking down on us and enjoying our thoughts and memories of her. But for those of us who interacted with her, just wanted to let everyone know that that had taken place. But anyway. nonetheless,
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate you, Zach, taking time, and we'll be looking out for your new album coming out in a couple weeks, and
Thank you.
share this with anybody and everybody. We'd love to have your companions on. We'd love to have any of your great missionaries that you were around, and we'll continue to push forward and get more people on here, and the connections are endless. It's unbelievable.
I know everyone's got people they want you to get on, and it's just, and then they have more, and it's just like so many people, and that's exciting. Yeah,
it really is. And we're still in the infancy of this, but we appreciate you, and we love you as brothers in Scotland, and hope to catch up again real soon.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Thanks,
And
guys.
thank you, Christian, for coming and being a good contributor to our conversation.
I just love coming to watch. Zach,
All right.
we'll have a chat next week. I'll give you a call.
Cool. All right, brothers. Have a
Awesome.
good rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.